before we do our introductions here, because I'm changing the screen, the caster tool up a little bit. What do you know about Avely?
Absolutely nothing.
Excellent, excellent.
I'm sorry, Avely. I apologize. I
love
am not familiar with your work at all.
it. So let me change this up just a little bit, and we'll get you.
While he's working on that, I'll introduce the players we've got. In the west side, playing as the Chinese in red, we have Avely. And over on the east, playing in the blue, we have Szalami. And does anyone happen to know what the shortcut command is to switch the sides?
Yeah, I know. It's Alt-Shift-4.
Alt-Shift-4. Okay.
Or Alt-Shift-S, I'm sorry. Because I put them on so Salami's on the right, and then we have...
No, it's not Alt-Shift-S.
Yeah, it is.
Alt-Shift-S looks like it turns the upgrades on and off for me.
Oh, Alt-Shift-F. I'm sorry.
Oh, F. There we go. That's better. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, apologize. Got to make sure the caster tool's right. Got to make sure we look professional here. Szalami playing the Roost. We're going to see another Roost game against Avely's Chinese. First to get a DACA. Now, when it comes to these civs on Mediterranean, what's really important is how their wood economy is improved compared to other civs, because it's going to be able for them to push out more navy, push out more fishing boats, making sure they get to feudal quickly. So, in your opinion, which civ do you think has a better wood economy?
Rus.
Good answer. No further questions.
I mean, supervising is good, right? Supervising is really good, but it's so easy to just throw up a wooden fortress, and that requires it's like a set it and forget it kind of thing, right? The supervisor, if you build a new wood camp, you got to move them to the new wood camp. Then you're gonna need your imperial official to go supervise something else later. So you gotta pull him off, and then you forget to put him back again. You don't have to worry about any of that with a wooden fortress. You set it down, you get a bunch of extra wood, and you're fine.
Yeah, and we're gonna see an IO do that, I'm sure, rather quickly. And Bruce, their wooden fortress probably going to be happening a little bit later, just because we got to take a look at these Lodya fishing boats, which we see here. They are 150 wood, so they count as 2 boats. They take a while to produce, but they're quite expensive. But what you're paying for, not only the fact that your boat is better, but you are going to be able to transform those boats into feudal age and take the battle to China as quickly as possible. And I think that's going to be a big factor here if Salami's able to do it right.
It is. If you have the wood and gold to spend, you can instantly turn all of your fishing boats into attack ships and overrun the enemy on water. But that's a double-edged sword, because everything you turn into an attack ship is then no longer gathering fish. And that's the whole reason water is powerful, is because you want boats gathering fish. So you have to be careful about walking the fine line there between aggression and greed.
And let's see if and actually that's a really good point in terms of Navy goes, because in our first couple on Mediterranean, we talked about overstretching your Navy and all of that. All of those have a hidden quality of greed to them. I mean, you're trying to get rid of the opposite Navy as best you can, probably without the resources that you might necessarily need. So it's a lot of I agree with you. It's a lot of keeping your inhibitions in check.
It's interesting. This spawn of Mediterranean is, I think, thicker than the last one. It seems to take up quite a bit more of the map, and that's thick with 3 Cs, by the way. For all of you,
you beat me to it. I was gonna say how many Cs we got.
But yeah, there's definitely more space on the water than I think we have in any of our previous Mediterranean spawns. So that may play a small role in this map. Might change how much we wall up. It might change how willing people are to go for land rushes, that sort of thing.
And now we see, for actually the 3rd time, we're going for a hat trick, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Kremlin again on Mediterranean. And after seeing this over and over again, I think that this play is like the bee's knees. Like, I love this. Having this be a wooden fortress that's going to protect your wood villagers from any kind of land raid, so you're consistently able to pump out the wood resources needed to do things like boat transformations and stuff. It's so huge.
Yeah, this removes the requirement of you actually building the wooden fortress. This is what we were talking about. Is that whole set it and forget it? That's even more prevalent with the Kremlin because its impact or its radius is so huge. You can gather from this entire, wood line right here, and then move to a whole separate wood line and gather from all of that without having to build a second wooden fortress, and you just get bonus for all of that.
Yeah, you can see it highlighted here also. So you could extend lumber camps, I mean, to the beyond, essentially. But it's funny because the Golden Gate has such a good payoff throughout the contour of the game, right? You're getting those extra 50 resources every minute, and that's all well and good. But on a map like Mediterranean, the 175 wood you save in the beginning kind of makes or breaks you. And we see that happening in terms of Szalami. He's got 2 Logi attack ships and 1 galley over here, while Avely just hit Feudal Age and only has 2 junks out, so he does not have the right counter towards any of these attack ships here, and it's going to spell danger for him. He's going to have some food trouble.
He does have, I think he has the, I'm not sure, I think I see a springled shot coming out of the dock. Does he have the emplacement for the dock? I think Avely might.
I don't. Not yet. I don't think so. I don't think I saw.
Because he hasn't taken any stones, so no, he hasn't. It must have been an optical illusion. Maybe coming from the junk nearby, it looked like it was coming from the dock or something. But yeah, that is something to consider in some of these situations where you maybe don't want to invest quite so heavily into protecting all of your fishing ships with attack ships of your own. You can always build those dock emplacements and just kind of fish quietly in your corner and keep people away from you using those.
And look what we have here for Szalami that's so important. There's a dock to the north here that hasn't been scouted. So all of these ships, instead of going all the way across the Mediterranean in order to heal, they're just able to go up north, take a little pit stop, change their tires, and then get back up here down south where they're able to meet more units from the east. And in this case, it is a demo ship. Let's see if it actually makes contact.
Well, it won't if you turn it around. I guess it's not.
True.
I mean, there are a lot of arrow ships here, and arrow ships are not what the demo ship wants to be running into. They are the counter. They can take it out pretty easily, and even if the demo ship makes contact, it does very little damage to arrow ships. So I honestly think it's a smart move to turn it around because you want to use this demolition ship on sprinkler ships. Using it on arrow ships is kind of a waste. So making sure that it's used for its intended purposes means you're not throwing a bunch of resources down the drain.
Right, and that's the idea. I mean, just because the increased bonus attack that it has on these war junks, you want to be able to one-tap them. You want to quickly turn the tide, pun intended, of a naval battle. And now that demo ship is coming in, as you can see, with plus 300 to some of those broadside ships, arrow ship taking it out.
Not quite going to make the contact that they were looking for, and I think Szalami might be overextending just a little bit here. He's losing a lot of ships, and he's not getting a lot for his efforts. He's killing a couple warships, but most of the fishing eco here for Avely is still completely intact. So this is not the trade that Szalami was really looking for, especially considering how much he sacrificed in terms of his own economy to bring this force to bear. Look back at Szalami's fishing eco right now. He has 2 ships fishing. They're Russian ships, so it's 4 ships, but still. That's it. You wanted to do more damage than this if you were going to sacrifice that much fishing eco,
And if you're going to do that, that means your villagers on land have to be allocated somewhere else, right? So we have about 4 or 5 villagers for Szalami still gathering sheep, which you don't want them to do that. You want to get wood. Your wood per minute is so important in order to produce out of all of these docks. What's nice is Szalami having a good placehold of these 2 docks in the north, that have the emplacements on it that they're able to make sure Avely has to retreat. But even those 2 fishing boats, just like we talked about, have to retreat. And food's going to suffer for the Rus player and trying to get up to castle if he ever thinks about it.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about. We mentioned that the Rus can turn their fishing ships into attack ships, but you may not always want to. And we saw exactly why right there, because you turn all your fishing ships into attack ships, and even if you get some results with them, which Szalami kind of didn't, you've lost them. And then you have to rebuild your fishing ships, which means you're behind anyway. So Szalami is definitely behind on the water right now. I think just trying to commit way too hard to aggression and it not paying out for him there means he's going to struggle to stay on water for the time being. We've mentioned this before. It's really tough to completely push somebody off of water in this game. So Szalami, if he really wants to commit to water, can probably come back in later on. But he's definitely on the back foot, and he has taken a bad trade in the early game, which has put him behind, especially considering Avely has reached the... oh, no, he's not in the Song Dynasty. How does he have so many more villagers? I guess those are just fishing ships. His eco is just that good, I guess. Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could look at the difference here just by what I'm highlighting. So we have, 10 fishing boats out here, whereas the Rus have technically 4 in terms of pop space. So that's going to be a little different. But yeah, maybe a little idle time on the side of Szalami also. But one key factor of Szalami right now is no wheelbarrow for him.
That is interesting. Yeah, no wheelbarrow being picked up. Wheelbarrow is actually on the way currently, but has... Oh, is it on the way? I can't tell. I gotta click on this.
No, I don't even think it's...
No, Szalami doesn't... Yeah, he hasn't clicked it. It's just the UI looks kind of funny. Okay, never mind. Wheelbarrow not on the way. So that means that, yeah, means you got a lot of extra walking going on. You're not quite as efficient as you could be. Szalami really trying to make water work here, and you kind of have to for the early game on Mediterranean just because of how powerful water is, but really just starting to experience diminishing returns in terms of how much he's going to get here, especially after these horsemen show up. Avely has already transitioned a little bit of his resources to a land army and is going to start burning down these docks from the land. It means that he's really in the driver's seat in terms of the pace of this game right now.
Yeah, and Szalami is nowhere near trying to get any kind of land army. I mean, he's putting so much economy into his navy right now that keep becoming shipwrecks. So it's very difficult for him to transition, and I do think, based on just scanning his base back just really quickly, I don't even see any production buildings.
Yeah, he doesn't have any. Yeah, so this is not looking good for Szalami whatsoever. I talked about this during our other game in Mediterranean, but water can sometimes be a trap, especially when it comes to the sunk cost fallacy. You put a lot of money into water, so you feel like you have to win it, so you keep putting more money into water. But you have to remember, water on Mediterranean, on most water maps, in fact, is just a means to an end. And Avely is understanding that better than Szalami right now, already transitioning a lot of eco into land army that will serve him better later in the game. Now, he does take a demo ship to the face there while he's trying to burn down that dock in the north. That hurts a little bit. But still, even the same, these horsemen are going to transition into something that you can do more damage with on land, whereas warships will not. And this is going to continue to put Avely further and further ahead.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's so tough because I agree with you with the sunk cost fallacy, but it just, oh man, maybe I'm just playing into the fallacy, but man, it's super tough to give up.
It is.
A lot of these fishing ships kind of migrated their way south, so they're a little bit safer. Also, Avely, just because of how much food economy he has, we're seeing more horsemen in queue, so he's going to be able to get a mass of those whenever he chooses to raid. And I think if he produces enough horsemen, maybe somewhere like in the 20 realm, Szalami might just call it after that, because there's no way for him to mass up anything if he wanted to.
No, and I mean, what else is Szalami gonna do? He doesn't even have a military production building down yet. And you'd think with how much food he has, he would at least throw it on the stables, because horsemen are mostly food anyway. I mean, it's a natural transition for you to look at all this food you've gotten from your fishing and go, what can I do with this food that's going to be helpful? I'll build horsemen because they're a ton of food and almost no wood. It puts you in a great spot, but Szalami's just floating all that res. It doesn't do you any good if you don't spend it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's difficult for him now because he has the Kremlin. He doesn't have the Golden Gate, so he's not able to change it. So he's going to need a market and make those changes. But I think just because these water maps are so micro-intensive, he might not even be looking at his resources right now. He's looking at all of these docks, trying to make units out of them, demo ship, trying to hit one of those war junks, and does go down. But again, Szalami's navy is going to end up getting wiped out here.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a market to trade for anything. You can just throw down the stables and start producing out of it if you really want to make something of it. But I just think that you're devoting all of this time and energy in order to keep your fishing eco alive, right? Your fishing eco can get you more food. What are you doing with that food? If you're not spending the food on anything, then all of this time and energy spent on getting the food is a waste.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, he has had a solid amount of fishing boats that have actually been untouched because Szalami's been taking the fight more to Avely than vice versa, because there's 6 boats out here that are doing a good job. And now in the back, we have about 7 horsemen, some of them damaged from a prior demo ship, but they're looking to get some raids in, and they'll do them uncontested.
Luckily, Szalami noticing, very good reaction time, going to make sure his villagers get out of there before they get stabbed to death by those horsemen. And they're within range of the town center, so the horsemen are going to have to go raid somewhere else. There's a very wide open wood line right here. Szalami also noticing that, going to react just in time. Very well played from Szalami, keeping all of his villagers alive. And maybe, honestly, Szalami's got the res. He should just go up to castle at this point. He's only 60 gold away from getting castle. Maybe you can do something with a superior castle army, thanks to the Rus, get some horse archers, or, upgrade those early knights into harder knights, do some sort of raiding against the Chinese. But your current strategy of trying to play things out in feudal is not working out well enough for you. And he is going to go up with the high trade house. Good plan.
Yeah, it's pretty good high trade house. I'm going to say, if I were to guesstimate, I'll say about 160 gold per minute, which is going to help him out. But yeah, I mean, obviously in feudal, like, it just seems like he keeps beating his head against the wall against all of Avely's navy. So maybe with a little bit of upgrades there in the castle department, it's going to help him out. One interesting thing, Avely didn't go Song this game. Do you think that's a standard China build in terms of getting water?
I don't know. I don't play China on water maps. But from what I've seen in terms of at least watching, it's not uncommon. It's not unheard of, but it is not common. That's what I'm trying to say. Song is so cheap. Like 600 resources for plus 30%, or used to be 50% villager production for the rest of forever is such a good return on investment. So it's almost always a good idea to get it. But sometimes when you have, like minute 1 aggression coming out on the water and all of your focus is spent on getting wood and turning that into ships, I can see it getting forgotten and not being the end of the world. So I don't think it's a huge mistake from Avely, but it is something that once he transitions to land, he will want to correct as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think he's starting to stockpile resources, just as you said, and maybe go up to Song a little bit afterward. But Avely trying to get some worker kills with his feudal age horsemen, did able to get a couple, but on the flip side, huge navy battle in the middle of the Mediterranean. We're going to see some demo ships get some good hits in, demo ships from Szalami coming in to try to reinforce this, but there might be too many archer ships for the demos to make impact, but I am corrected.
Look at him! Explode! Explode! Hit something! Click on it!
Oh, wow.
Still, though, that was absolutely massive. Here's the thing, though. This is fine. Because look at the military tab still. Avely has done what he needed to. The water... I know I keep beating on about this. Chat's going to be sick of hearing me say it. The water is not the end game. Avely has used the water to get himself a big land army, and now he's going to use the land army to kill Szalami. So yeah, Szalami won the water back. Big whoop. He's still going to lose because he has nothing to defend these horseman raids.
Yeah, and it looks like Szalami only has 4 horsemen total with 3 in the queue, so I completely understand where you're coming from with that. But is going to put the Barbican of the Sun on the south side. Avely is going to try to get this wood line to get denied, and for Avely, this could be huge for him if he's able to get this up, because that eastern wood line for Szalami is pretty much donezo. So there's not really any other wood patches that are pretty close for him. So with only 3 villagers, this could go up quicker than you might expect.
Yeah, they do build really fast. They are those Chinese, but this is going to deny a little bit of wood and provide a nice little kind of retreat point that he can get his horses back to in order to give himself a foothold here. He's going to want to try and keep raiding these villagers. Szalami still, actually, Avely, I mean, still never went up to the Song Dynasty, but even still, leading in the villager count, especially when more of these start to die, these villagers start to die from Szalami. Now, Szalami is actually up in age and has been for quite some time, but Avely is going to be able to follow him up there pretty quickly. Has an absolutely huge stockpile of a lot of resources, especially stone. Honestly, could see a keep drop if he really wanted to. Now, that Barbican was denied. The horsemen rotated around the coast and killed the villagers that were building the Barbican, so it will not finish going up. And the villagers are now obviously dead as well, so he won't be able to do anything else with them, like place any keeps or build any forward structures. He'll have to send new villagers out there to take care of some of that stuff. So good play, keeping Szalami alive for the meantime. Avely floating quite a bit of resources and kind of a bit of indecision. He doesn't seem to know what to spend them on right now.
Yeah, that was a huge hold and a little bit of overextension from Avely, because he sent a lot of feudal age units in against the Kremlin that has a springald upgrade and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it was difficult for him, and now he's up against age 3 horsemen with age 2 horsemen, which isn't going to be looking good for him either, with more of them with defender's advantage for Szalami. I feel like Avely really had this game if he was just able to keep himself on a stronghold, but his base army of horsemen are essentially down. The Barbican still doesn't go up, even though he sent more workers there, so there are more worker kills. The only thing that he's really winning on any front is water.
Yeah, it was really strange. He had all these horsemen, he sent them in, they chased villagers forever, didn't get any of them, then rotated back, walked all the way back to the Barbican, and then died. So he had this huge amount of of horsemen that he was trying to make something happen with, and they just didn't amount to anything, and he kind of threw away the advantage that he had, which was that superior land eco mass. Now he's desperately trying to keep this Barbican alive, doing repairs on either side while he throws spears out, trying to keep it from getting burned down. It will go down, and because it finished, he won't be able to cancel it and rebuild it somewhere else. That's just the Barbican gone for the rest of the game. And Szalami, where he looked like he was in real trouble for quite a while on water, because of kind of a misstep and Avely not being really sure how to transition out from one advantage to another, is now in trouble. He finally went up to Song Dynasty, still hasn't gotten up to Castle Age. So there's just this indecision from Avely's side, like where does he press his advantage? And he spent so much time trying to figure out what to do with the advantage he gained in the early game that he lost it, and now Szalami is kind of in the driver's seat.
Yeah, now with the Castle Age army, or navy, I should say, for Szalami, I mean, his attack ships have a little bit more health, so they'll be able to maybe take a demo ship, which all of their ships ended up actually not getting one hit by some of them, and Avely might need to back up a little bit and wait till he gets up to Castle, but he's at about 100 gold right now and isn't really looking for much in terms of the gold department. I'm sensing a little indecisiveness.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's gathering 159 gold a minute. Now, I think that's caused because a gold mine ran out and he's transferring to a new one. That is the case, yeah. He's got a new gold mine placed, a blueprint, but not the villagers mining towards the south side of his base. So he's had to gather gold from a new source, and has since shifted his villagers over to wood. But yeah, there's just this split priority of indecision, and it's cost Avely a huge advantage. He still has enough food that he could go up to Castle Age, but not enough gold.
And he just added a second and a third town center, trying to get rid of some of that food, put them into villager count so he can get a little bit of that wooden gold to help him with an army. For 3 TC Song, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's a little overkill?
I don't know if it's overkill. What it is kind of not too late, but it's like trying to find the right words. Holy cow, did you see that huge cleanup of all the Navy of both sides just died in the middle of the Mediterranean?
Oh,
that was insane. Everything just blew up. What I'm trying to say is that it's at the wrong time. 3TC Song Dynasty is at the wrong time. You don't want to start 3TC Song Dynasty at 24 minutes. That should be started at 10 minutes. Now is too late. Because now the Roost player is building an army. And if you're putting all of your resources into constructing town centers and villagers while they're building an army, you're going to die.
Right.
So it's would have been a good idea 15 minutes ago. Now it's out of place and mistimed. It means he's going to have less defenses than he'd like to against Szalami.
Yeah, and I think just because of that, we saw his food, just like dip so far down. He's going to put land villagers onto food now, but now that he's at about 200, I completely agree with you. I mean, he's going to be trying to get things like upgrades for his units and his horsemen and things like that, where Szalami's had them for quite some time. And now that he's been stabilizing, he's able to get some of these raids. We see a group of about 7 horsemen coming in on the west side, trying to get some raids down. The issue is because Avely's 3TC Song, when you kill a villager, what I've heard in the Song Dynasty is if you kill one villager, 2 pop up into the place.
It's true. It's absolutely true. But it's not necessarily the killing of villagers that makes this dangerous. It's the idling of the eco and especially the production. If Szalami can idle out the military production for Avely, he can make sure that that Avely is never able to take a favorable fight again and just grind him down over time. That's the real danger here, not the killing of the villagers.
Right. You're exactly right. But those horsemen do end up going down, however. There's a couple spearmen in there in the town center saying, "Peekaboo, how you doing?" And then Avely going to take another battle to Szalami again, right outside Salami's docks. And it looks like Avely does have the overwhelmingly ship advantage. However, all of them are just normal junks, and it looks like maybe only 1 or 2 war junks here.
Yeah, there are a couple war junks in the back that are going to be doing a decent amount of work, but this is the defender's advantage that we see on water. You never, hardly ever, push somebody completely off of water. And you have to think, what about all of these resources that have just... I mean, think about how many thousands of resources just exploded in front of our eyes, right? Imagine how many land troops you could have built with all of that money.
I'll tell you what, an archaeologist is going to have a field day about 1,000 years from now.
Yeah, this lake is just... No, actually, if you play this map for long enough, the lake just fills in with ship parts, and eventually it all becomes land. And your units can just walk over the broken ships across the water.
That's right. But for the first time in a while, I would say, that wasn't really a stalemate to me. I think this one, this naval battle went in favor of Szalami, and Salami's going to try to take it to some of the food economy. It just seems like deja vu every time we have a naval battle,
Yeah, and that's the way it is. Naval is such a back and forth thing, and it's so hard to win a decisive victory enough that somebody really loses out completely, that you end up with a lot of these trades where it often feels like the person who is first able to use water to transition into something else is the real winner here. Because if you let yourself, you can just continue throwing endless amounts of money into water and achieve nothing.
Now, the difference is, and again, with Szalami, as you see some of those nicely little armored plates there on the Logia galleys and the Logia attack ships, all of Szalami's ships have more HP right now than Avely. So when it comes to these matchups where, if there's no demo ships involved, when it comes to these naval battles, Szalami's always going to have an upper hand.
Both players starting to wall in at this point. We can see walls going up all over the place. Everybody trying to contain some map control as they look to transition towards the land side of things. I think both players are realizing that the time on water needs to be limited at this point. All of the fishing eco is getting cleaned up for Avely. Absolutely all of it is gone. Now he's going to be able to fall back on his 3TC Song, so he's not going to be hurting too much from that. But the question remains, what is going to be done in its place by Szalami, because all of these ships are then going to be able to turn their arrows onto villagers that happen to be working close to the shore. So that's something you have to be worried about in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think with the docks there from China, they could be easily cleaned up, and we see a max exodus of villagers. It looks like they're going north to a lumber camp, trying to get wood, but this is a lot of idling. Avely cannot make a ship right now with a military count of 62 to 33, obviously most of them being water. I know we say nobody's really quote-unquote out of water. Ooh, a Wololo! A Szalami Wololo on the east side. Looks like he's trying to get some spearmint. Didn't get him, though.
Not going to get him. That's true. So I should clarify that. Nobody's really out of water in the feudal age. In the castle age, once you have war junks, docks are much more killable. So it is much more possible to push your enemy off of water in castle age. But in the feudal age is really where it ends up being an endless stalemate. Right. So this is a win for Szalami in a big way. It also gives him the ability to use transport ships to simply go around these walls. All of the wood that Avely has spent on these walls can be countered by a single transport ship at this point, which is that's the result of holding the water up, single-handedly.
And let's not forget there are coastal trading posts. Here you could always set yourself up for water trade if you don't have a lot of resources, that are safe for you.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it, but it is true. The only downside to those, especially on this map, is that it's relatively easy to counter one by simply dropping a keep next to it. And you're not going to get the best trade routes because the land or the water is not that big. It's not like doing cross-map trading on land. So, but it's always something you can have in your back pocket if you do control the water. That it's not bad to have. It's never going to hurt you to have that. Just not sure how much we may or may not see it in your average game.
Yeah, it's a real big win more tactic, essentially. I mean, if you have map control over the other side of where that coastal port is, you probably won the game already,
Yeah, exactly. The one that's further away from you, yeah. Because you want to trade the longest distance possible, so yeah. It is kind of, you're right, it's a win more button. That's a good way to describe it. But yeah, all of these docks, I think, going to be cleaned up. I don't see any red docks left on the coast. So Szalami, after 31 minutes, is the eventual victor of the water battle. All that remains to be seen now is what he's going to do with that advantage to close out the land.
And you know what the best thing about it being Rus? Because I saw about like 7 or 8 demo ships back here. Szalami was full intent with trying to win water. Now with these demo ships, he just converted them all to fishing boats. He's like, okay, the war's over. I'm just going to start running. And now with all of that food economy, he makes what is arguably my favorite army composition of knights and horse archers, and he even has a couple transport ships to sail them across.
That is awesome. Yep, just like we talked about, that transport ship going to be invaluable in making sure that these walls are basically useless. Now, a couple of them didn't even get finished anyway, but you can always transport around them to make sure that Avely is raided to death. Avely also going to be eventually choked into a corner here. You can see he's like a locust eating up a lot of the resources immediately surrounding his base, forcing him to go further and further away to continue to get what he needs. You can also see that Avely has absolutely no military. He has spent the last 5 minutes or so just trying to recover from losing water, and Szalami has spent that time building military. He's got 82 military pop and is nearly maxed out to Avely's 132 military pop. Or, I mean, total pop.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there's a reason why you can load all these transport ships and get all of this economy. I mean, look at Szalami's food per minute. It's insanity.
3,000 food per minute, and that's just the result of having all of that food under your belt. That's why we say water is so powerful. It's just, really important to remember that what its strategic advantages are and aren't, and making sure that you don't put more into it than you're getting out. That's really the big trap of water when you're not careful. So Szalami definitely getting his money's worth out of it, though, for here. Like, he's got tons of food. He's got transport ships. He's going to sail them straight across the Mediterranean, unload in his enemy's base, and then just move everything into the opponent's landmarks and win, because Avely has nothing to defend.
And I mean, if you're Avely, what do you do against this? There's even I saw in one of these transport ships. Let me click through them and see if I can find them. There's 16 villagers plus another 4 in one of those transport ships. So I don't know what he's gonna build because he doesn't have enough stone for a keep, but maybe he'll do a little bit of like wooden fortress spam or something. I don't know, but he's looking.
He doesn't know it's coming. As soon as he sees this army unload on his shores, he's gonna GG. Because up until now, he had no vision of those ships. He didn't know they were coming.
Oh, he built the Spaskaya Tower.
That's a get out of my game, Spaskaya Tower. That is just disrespectful.
Oh, man. I haven't seen this thing in a minute. If you're Avely, just let this go up and then go ahead and do whatever you got to do. But it looks like on the other side, he's got some spearmen over here on the east side, but all of his military production buildings are all around near Szalami's side of the Mediterranean because he was going for some kind of cheeky play. It's just that Szalami's was that much cheekier.
Yeah, and he's busy constructing all of these military production buildings, but those will pay off in a base race scenario 10 minutes from now. Szalami's already in your base. The Spaskaya Tower is already up. Like, this is Avely sticking around out of, I think, like, stubbornness more than an actual belief he can really win here.
Right. Right. I agree with you, too. And the Spaskaya Tower, for people that don't remember, you're able to build stone walls, and gates, and towers and stuff as Rus. Obviously, he's not going to need to do that, of course, but
it also functions as a super strong keep. It has cannon emplacements and springald emplacements built into it when it comes up.
Yeah, and also super cool design. This Spaskaya Tower is awesome. It kind of looks like a skyscraper in and of itself. But I do agree. I'm not sure what Avely's thinking in terms of staying in this.
I mean, he maybe just is kind of shaking himself off. He not ready to go into game 2 yet. Sometimes you got to gather your thoughts and, you know, just kind of wear your opponent down just a little bit more and get yourself ready mentally for game 2. And, you know, there's nothing in the rule book that says you have to resign the second you know the game is over. So, you know, why not?
Yeah, I mean, we get to watch some Knights torch down an Imperial Academy. It looks like it's just taking a little bit of landmark surveillance here. Besides the 2 that were in his base that were destroyed, and the Imperial Palace, Astronomical Clock Tower is on the south, and of course the Imperial Palace a little bit to the southeast as well. Actually, there's a decent amount of landmarks that were built on Szalami's side. So it might be after those landmarks are over, everybody gets in their boats and heads out.
Yeah, I mean, Avely might be playing on against hope that he can somehow hold this Imperial Palace because all of his production happens to be next to it. But, I mean, he doesn't necessarily have all the info that we have, that Szalami has 75 military pop to his 17. So he might be thinking that he can still miraculously hold on and keep this Imperial Palace alive long enough that he won't lose, but I don't think it'll take much. I think as soon as this clock tower, astronomical clock tower goes down, you're right, everybody hops in the ships, they go over here, they kill this Imperial Palace, and we're done.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Before the clock tower even gets burned, he's like, yeah, that's probably enough. And back in the boats we go. It's the Great Muscovite Exposition. We're going to be going back to the southeast and onward.
And he's trying to do some good work. You know, he's dropping keeps in the middle of Szalami's town. He's raiding all of his all of his villagers and stuff with his own horsemen. But these are things that slow down an opponent. They don't kill them. And Szalami is in killing position right now. So this is never going to work out in a way that, you know, it comes down to the wire and Avely can just about kill all those landmarks. At the end of the day, he has 20 population. Like, Szalami's going to be just fine.
Right. Even add Streltsy into the mix. Also, a super fun unit. If you're watching the stream and you don't play the Rus, I would suggest it because they have a lot of fun toys.
I love playing with Streltsy.
Oh man, just you know what it is for me, the sound effect, the shooting of it, the way the Streltsy's guns actually sound, it's fantastic. Rus also obviously adding bombards, which is going to help him take down the keeps and the Imperial Palace. But to be honest, I don't really care about the keeps. I'd probably just go in.
Yeah, I think he can just take everything and right-click the Imperial Palace and just win. Oh, Avely trying to stay in it by building a Spirit Way on the other side of the map, trying to cockroach his way through this game. Honestly, if Szalami had just right-clicked the Imperial Palace, I think he gets it down before the Spirit Way comes up. But if he takes the time to torch all these stables on the way down, the Spirit Way probably survive.
Right. And I think Szalami's doing a little bit of playing with his food too, because he's just queuing up a bunch of scouts. I mean, there's 24 scouts in queue. But we'll see if this gets up in time. The Spirit Way is done. Wow,
Oh, he
with
waited too
2,000
long.
HP on that Imperial Palace. And
He
now
waited too long.
it's a scavenger hunt. Where is the damn thing?
It's in the north, like almost at the point.
Oh yeah, no, I see it.
There's a satellite base built by Avely up there. He threw it up right behind.
It looks like back home in Szalami land, Avely does have Fire Lancers, and I don't know if he's going for the same thing in terms of a landmark snipe, but he has a giant Spaskaya tower right in front of his base, so probably not the best idea.
No, there's no way that. I mean, he is trebucheting it down from a very long distance using. He's stonewalled in this trebuchet so that it can't be attacked while he shoots down this Spaskaya tower.
Oh my god. With probably the military unit with the longest name, the Clock Tower Counterweight Trebuchet, going ahead and taking shots at the Spask. And actually, if he holds out and Szalami doesn't find the Spirit Way, I'm not going to say it, but this game could turn.
There is a very small chance in which that happens. I would be over the moon if we saw it. That would be legendary. But I don't know. I don't know. It would take a pretty big miracle. It would have to take Szalami like another 20 minutes to find this Spirit Way.
Yeah, that would be something. Or at least if he was able to repair one of his, or something like that. It looks like he's doing that with the Imperial Palace down to the south.
Speaking of, where is Szalami's army? They're taking an awful long time to get anywhere or do anything. Where did they all go?
Oh, they're role playing as Vikings actually. They went from southeast in the transport ships, and now they're all piling up in the north.
Oh, I see them. There they are. There they are. Okay.
I mean, in terms of a Viking impression, pretty solid.
It's pretty solid. Yeah.
This Imperial Palace, however, halfway there. So he's going to find... Oh, got some scouts. Found the Spirit Way up here on the northeast corner. And let's see a quick beeline to it. We're going to hop in our boats. We're going to go in the middle of the walls. And we're going to take this out. And head ourselves on to game two, I think. Oh, man.
No, we're going down south for some reason.
Okay. I don't have anything for this. I mean, the scouts did see the Spirit Way up here. And it looks like the Imperial Palace has stopped from getting repaired. The Spaskaya Tower is actually at 1,200 HP, now 800 HP. The Kremlin is about down. The High Trade House is about 2,000 HP, and the hometown center of Szalami has not been touched. So, I'm just saying, stay tuned.
What are you doing?
Here's the hometown center. Fire Lancers coming at it. And Fire Lancers with how much torch damage? Remember, they have 40 torch damage. This town center is going to go down pretty quickly. We have another 6 Fire Lancers going to the High Trade House on the east side. What is happening?
What is Szalami doing?
More of them. They're going down. This town center is going to go down. Spaskaya, down. Kremlin, down.
What's happening? I'm speechless. And Szalami, GG's.
Wow.
What? What?
That's insane.
What?
That's insane. Like I don't know. That was crazy.
I'm so indescribably angry right now. I cannot explain how tilted I am. What?
Oh my god. I mean, Avely did what he needed to do to landmark snipe. I just don't understand, because Szalami had scouts on the Spirit Way, right? Like, that was like he knew where it was. I don't understand why he went back south, or maybe he didn't see it on his minimap. I have no idea, but I did see, and everybody in chat could see it also on the upper right-hand part of the screen. There were 5 blue scouts, 5 Szalami scouts right next to the Spirit Way. I don't know if he... I guess he didn't see it. Yikes is right.
Graph! Look at the graph! I'm so mad.
Oh my god. And he got that Spirit Way down with what was it? 2000 health on the 2000 health on the Imperial Palace.
Yeah, like Szalami should have won that about 6 times over. All he had to do was right-click the Imperial Palace, and he would have won. But then the Spirit Way gets up, and then he finds that, but then he doesn't go there, and then he GGs before all of his stuff is even destroyed. Like,
That's crazy. Yeah, resource income graph. It's gonna come up in just a second for you guys. Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing the reactions in chat.
I'm leaving. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm leaving the game.
Schmepic, I get it. You know, believe me. I mean, you're not gonna find a better a sympathizer or, you know, anti China AoE 4 than me. But yeah, that was, to be honest, I mean, yeah, China does a lot of things. They're able to, you know, quick build that speed and all that kind of stuff, but like, he found it though.
No, I'm sorry, Schmepic. You're like, yes, China has a lot of buffs. I will give you that, Schmepic, but this has nothing to do with China being good. That was a throw in every sense of the word.
There we go. And spawning up in the north on our lovely map of Aracita, it is Szalami playing as... I didn't change the civs. He's Molly. And who do we have in the south?
In the south, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, it's the inexplicable winner of our last game, Avely.
Yeah, so rather pretty basic in terms of Delhi build order. For some of you who are new watching this game, usually you put 5 on one of your stragglers. You go ahead, you get that, you build the mill, you drop it off. Because you're able to drop off different resources. He chose the town center instead because it was on the way to the mill, which is fine. And then your 6th villager with a mosque and a house start getting those upgrades. Got to make sure your mosque has the Wi-Fi to be on the mill. If it was over on the other side, it wouldn't be able to do that, so that wheelbarrow is going to get sped up just a little bit. And overall, I know you say you do a lot of you play a decent amount of civs, but have you experimented with different Delhi build orders or tried to perfect the meta one mostly?
Mostly, I play the established Delhi build orders. Delhi are funky and complicated because it's all about getting the right structures up at the right time so you can click the upgrades in the order you need to get them. It's all about the timing because the upgrades take so long. You know, they're free, but they take so long. So I try not to mess with Delhi build orders too much because I figure people much smarter than me know when they need to get certain upgrades, and I will just trust them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm some kind of theory crafter. I just let somebody tell me what to do and I do it.
Exactly.
But remember, we are on. If you guys have not seen this map prior or just tuning in, this is Maracita. This map was made by Adney with the help of BC Cutie actually, and this has won a map contest. Dr. Dabson's map contest has taken first place, and it is a rather unique map. As we see here, we got these south places where some shoreline fish are. Szalami getting a little bit lucky having some deer here with it. But you gotta think, because Szalami did play this map as Mali before, didn't really do much in terms of venturing out there, though.
No, this seems to just be his Malians pick. Like, he's like, I played Maracita, I picked the Malians. So far, it hasn't gone badly for him at all. I expect we'll probably see, you know, some very similar plays from him in this one. So Maracita, important to remember, does have trading posts on the backside. So there is a chance that we see trade. We haven't actually seen any trade yet from the Malians. We've seen the trade landmark, but no traders.
Right.
He's essentially just using this as an outpost. This is a glorified outpost in its current phase because the traders are not going to be walking through here. getting any sort of extra bonus or tax. This exists to shoot at things that try and burn down the pit mine, which is fine. That's just the way Szalami chooses to play most of his feudal age landmarks. And behind this, we expect him to probably go up with the Farimba garrison to the fast castle, and then look to just overwhelm his opponents with lots of cheap units that get spawned in mass out of the Farimba garrison. Now, what the Delhi are going to try to do on the other side is they want to get up to castle age as well. And they can choose to either do that with lancers or with men-at-arms. And if they want to go lancers or horsemen, they usually want to go up with the Dome of the Faith, followed by the Compound of the Defender.
Nice.
If they want to go for men-at-arms, they usually will go with the Tower of Victory into the House of Learning. So those are kind of your two branching upgrade paths you generally see the Delhi take. Now, there's variation in there. It's not always that cut and dried. But the fact that we're seeing Avely go up with the Dome of the Faith signifies that he's not intending on doing a lot of feudal age aggression, at least not with infantry. Because that's what the Dome of the Faith boosts infantry, not cavalry. The Tower of Victory boosts infantry, not cavalry. So we know that he doesn't want to do some early infantry aggression, else he probably would have taken the Tower of Victory instead.
And Avely going for a little bit more in the greed department, making sure, usually if there's a civ that wants to battle you in the feudal age, you might go for a military production building instead of something like a blacksmith, or a second blacksmith for that matter. But he's able to do that, going to be able to pump out those research techs rather quickly. I will say for Tower of Victory, usually it's more of a feudal age kind of thing. If you really want to take the battle in feudal age, the Tower of Victory is going to be really helpful to you because it's it has an instant payoff, right? Where Dome of the Faith, instead of the Dome of the Faith having a second mosque to make scholars, the Dome of the Faith is going to save you a little bit. But I'm interested to see how this plays because obviously for Avely, you're the Delhi Sultanate. You need these sacred sites, and in feudal age, you're going to do that. Szalami, we seeing him wall on the north side, one of his north sacred sites. The other two are largely undefended. He is going essentially for a naked fast castle, meaning he doesn't have any production buildings here. He doesn't have any units. He doesn't have any of that. Avely is starting to with the stable and is starting to make horsemen and archery range coming in as well. He has super good sanctity time, with sanctity going to be coming in 50 seconds, so about the 7-minute mark he'll be able to do that. So he can pop his scholars out, get a couple sacred sites, and then go up to castle. The problem is, just because of this naked fast castle here from Szalami, is the Farimba enough to regain map control against the feudal age Delhi, who can produce units really quickly. So I'm curious to see if that actually pans out.
And on top of that, he's got an archery range down. He can send those archers out, and using the Delhi special ability, he can construct walls around the sacred sites using his archers. So he can take control of the two kind of remaining sacred sites. And it's probably unlikely that he's going to be able to get this northernmost one, right? It's walled in. He'd need a sanction of knights to head up there and try and burn it down and then get his scholar up there. It probably isn't going to happen. But these other two, these are easy clap victories for Avely to take. And then he can wall them off using his archers. He's already doing that. So by the time Szalami makes it up with the Farimba garrison, will he be able to get through these walls and stop them? That's the big question that he really has to answer, because the Farimba garrison is scary to zerg out units, but the Delhi are also quite scary in Castle Age. We know how strong they can be, especially when they get some elephants and some healing on board and all that good stuff. Like it's a scary thing to be going up against. And in fact, Szalami, about to notice that this sacred site is being taken, going to try and prevent it using the scout. He's already sent somebody over here to build these walls, but they're not going to get up in time because there's an archer here who's going to get here first and build up the walls before any blue workers can get over here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of... it's funny that both of them, obviously they're both fantastic players, had the same idea, and did it almost at about the exactly same time, but now Szalami is forced to make units. Now that we talked about it, here's a barracks, and we do have a Donzo in here, but Farimba garrison going up at just about the 8-minute mark, so it'll take about a minute to get with one sacred site completed, and really for the Delhi, you only really need 2. So when he gets the second one, it's going to be fantastic. He'll be able to take his gold villagers off, put them somewhere else. But let's not forget, with the Farimba garrison, you talked about zerging units. Delhi does have efficient production. They know their way around zerging some stuff.
It's true. They will be just fine to deal with that, especially as they were the ones to get out units first. I mean, early game military count. This is a little bit misleading, the thing at the top, because it counts scholars as military units. So don't trust that bar completely. But even still, the Delhi already has a larger military out in the early game here. So Szalami is going to need to put in some work with that Farimba garrison in order to bring things back to a state where he feels real comfortable.
And for how quickly they do it, because you're talking about getting units out, they get an archer every 7 seconds with efficient production. It's fantastic. They get a horseman every 11 seconds. So yes, Salami's castle, and he's going to start producing what looks like Donzos out of here. He's going to make hardened Donzos for 360 gold a pop. What's nice about the Farimba garrison is the fact that you can make multiple classifications of units in the same building. And to me, I feel like that's what makes it the most broken, because you can make Donzos, and then if your opponent goes into archers, you can use the exact same building, make javelin throwers instead.
Yeah, it's essentially 5 barracks or 5 archery ranges or 5 stables. Can't be all 3 at the same time, but it can be any of those, and you get all of that for the cost of your age up. So, I mean, the age up costs money, but you always have to spend that anyway. So is it free? I don't know. You can decide that for yourself. But the point is, it's a lot less than building all 3 of those different structures separately.
Right. And I think for Avely, I'm not sure what his future game plan is, because the Farimba is going to start Farimbaing right now. And if you're not consistently making units, which it looks like he's continuing to, you're not going to be able to keep up. But on the flip side, you're not going to be able to go up to castle if you do choose that route as well. So in your, we're kind of theory crafting now as we get into the 10.5 minute, but do you think Avely going castle would better suit him and meet him in castle, or just start zerging feudal age units?
No, go up to castle. You can see what Szalami has in terms of army because it's burning down these palisade walls right now. If he had more army, it would be dealing with your raids, or it would be burning down these walls. Like, he can see on the screen right now all of the army that Szalami has. He knows it's not a threat to him. Idle your production, your military production. Go up to castle, and then you're on parity with him in terms of tech, and you can just go toe-to-toe with him in terms of production using your efficient production tech.
And it looks like he's doing exactly that. I mean, he's gathering a bunch of food here. He hasn't made anything like archers or horsemen in a while. And I will comment that this is what makes good Delhi players great and great Delhi players amazing, is your ability to make just enough military to get yourself map control, while at the same time getting up to castle at the best time that you can. If you're able to do both of those things as a Delhi player, you're going to be a fantastic one. And he also had the presence of mind to put scholars near relics, so he can pick up relics as soon as he hits castle, which is going to be in about 20 seconds.
That's another thing that really separates good from great in terms of Delhi players, is the micromanaging of your scholars, making sure that they're on the sacred sites as soon as Sanctity comes up, making sure that they're at relics as soon as castle comes online, making sure that they're in and out of buildings when you're wanting to use efficient production, when they're in mosques when you're trying to research. Like, there's a lot of microing to do with your scholars, and that's kind of what separates the big boys from the Weenie Hut juniors when it comes to Delhi players.
I really, when I woke up this morning, I was not expecting a Weenie Hut Juniors reference, but that's why you get up in the morning. You hear stuff that you don't expect. House of Learning does get completed. Looks like probably Hone Blades will be the first one to get out, and those relics will be quickly picked up, and that's an easy 3 relics. 1, 2, 3, 4 actually, spawning on the side of Avely, so good map generation for him also.
And that's really a big deal as well, because what this House of Learning means is that if Avely chooses to, he can tech switch into Man-at-Arms, and he still gets the really good Man-at-Arms using Hone Blades. Now, he will not have the extra 20% attack speed the Tower of Victory would have provided, but having that +3 damage on all of his men-at-arms and lancers does mean that he has that option later on. So he's free to kind of tech switch into either lancers or men-at-arms, and either way, he's in a pretty good position. He's not going to get all of those relics home, unfortunately. You see at the top, he did lose that scholar, and he lost a few horsemen as well as they were trying to retreat. So he's only going to be able to get, I think, 3 of these relics back home safely. I mean, there's a chance he gets this 4th one later, but at least for now, it's only going to be 3. But Avely got up to Castle Age. He isn't dead. He's still on parity in terms of military amount. So he's happy right now. Szalami really wanted to do more damage than he has thus far with his fast castle Zerg Rush. And he's going to have to be content for now with just decapping these sacred sites. That's a consolation prize.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, making sure that he's not getting that gold per minute is going to be huge. I mean, allocating villagers on gold means it's, you know, resources that they could be doing something else. But one thing I want to say that Szalami is doing an absolute fantastic, number one, 100% good job is he knows that Delhi is Castle Age and goes with the House of Learning. So he knows that they're going to start making Castle Age units because they don't need to wait for the upgrades, etc., etc. Bunch of men-at-arms popping out of these barracks. So what does he do? Switch to Musafati warriors, and now he's got about 15.
Excellent play, and excellent job, you know, noticing that, because Musafati warriors are the counter to men-at-arms. It's strange, but they are. So that is, you know, him recognizing his victory condition, what he needs to do in order to counter the men-at-arms that are on their way out. So as soon as Avely notices this, he has an opportunity where he can tech switch into archers or lancers. He has, I think, 3 or 4 archery ranges already. Only 1 set of stables. So lancer tech switch is going to be a little bit more difficult. But archers are the counter to the Musafati warriors. So there's this mind game we have going on here, back and forth between who's going to switch first in terms of tech and how that will end up playing out in terms of a battle. Here we go, as both armies clash in the south side of the map right here.
Yep, all of the archers on the back line going down by some of those javelin throwers, but the men-at-arms trying to hold their own. The scholars doing a pretty good job at trying to heal them. Even though we talked about the Musafati being squishy, the amount of archers and the fact that they're feudal age means they might not have enough to one-tap, and it looks like they really don't. But however, as this battle comes into the micro level of it, the scholars being able to heal those individual men-at-arms, the men-at-arms are actually not being able to be killed entirely. The javelin throwers will have to run for their life. But on the other side, Szalami is zerging with some Musafati warriors all around his base, trying to pick off a couple workers.
He might get 1 or 2, but Avely definitely comes away with the victory in that fight, cleans up the entire army from Szalami, leaving himself in a relatively defended position with most of his army still intact. Going to be able to push these veteran javelin throwers away from his base. Maybe even secure this last relic that he wasn't quite able to bring in before. He does have a scholar out in the vicinity looking to maybe head that up and also recap the sacred site. So Avely in a decent position right now. Very happy with how that last engagement went.
Oh yeah, I'd be happy too. I mean, obviously, Szalami's no stranger to playing against Delhi because of how many games he plays as Delhi. He knows what makes them tick, and he knows the kind of things that would be difficult for them. But I don't think, just in terms of that battle, I just really don't think he had enough Musafati for that one.
No, I don't think it was the right time for him to take him. He was also kind of out of position. He took the fight like on the wrong side of Avely's base, headed towards. It was a weird choice to, as a time and place, to take the fight. I think he was trying to kind of loop around the backside of the base and go for some raids, and then got caught out of position and just decided to take the fight because he didn't have another choice. But it didn't play out for him really well there, and he ended up losing a lot. And now Avely is on the front foot, almost 70 military population for the time being. It's probably more like 60 because scholars, there's 10 of them, but still vastly outnumbering his opponent in terms of military, and now starting to push down these walls and gates. Going to put the pressure onto Szalami, force him to respond in some way.
Yeah, now we're getting to the point where the Zerger becomes the Zergi. And all of these men-at-arms, because of how quickly you're able to pump them out of these barracks, they're always going to have more. I mean, we have 31 men-at-arms to 29 Musafati, but the difference is there's 36 archers to back them up. Szalami doing the right thing, adding a siege workshop, and I did hear a mangonel that will get popped out. It is in the queue and will be ready in a couple seconds. And to be honest, that's probably the only thing that you have against the range massive Avely, because you're spending so much time making Musafati out of your Farimba.
Avely with a master stroke here. He's hitting from 3 different angles at once. He's got a mass of guys who have knocked down the wall in the south. He's got a group of archers and men-at-arms who have pushed down the wall in the northeast. And then he has another set of archers and a couple men-at-arms. They're going to try and wall up and then place themselves in between that so they can push down the defensive wall in the north. So Szalami's going to have to split his forces to respond to all 3 right now, and he feels really great about this. Although, actually, very well done. Szalami does notice and does put up a re-wall in the bottom so that the archers can't get through, and then we'll be placing a toll outpost there as well to try and provide some form of defense so he can focus his troops on just defending up at the north. He's pushing them away currently. They're trying to break down this gate, but there's a lot more blue troops than there are green right here, and the green ones are all going to get cleaned up unless they run.
Yeah, and they weren't, they weren't able to run just because the first strike of the Musafati literally didn't even see him coming. So now they got to back up a little bit, and there will be an archer mass in the back that's trying to help him out. But see, Avely should know all of Szalami's units are in the north. So what does he do? He takes it to him in the south. We got a couple Springolds here actually also. A lot of men-at-arms, a lot of archers. Then what happens, even though those Musafati are pretty quick, they got to traverse pretty much the extent of the map to stop this from happening in the south.
And that's the strength of being able to play both sides like he is, just the pincer movement, forcing Avely to always be, or excuse me, forcing Szalami to always be in the wrong place because Avely will always be somewhere else when your army's out of position. Now, this archer and crossbow and man-at-arm mass in the top here, almost certainly going to be cleaned up, right? There's almost zero chance this survives in any meaningful way, but it doesn't matter because it's bought time for the army in the south. They've killed a pit mine, they're killing houses, they've idled a huge amount of Szalami's eco, and he can just continue to do damage because there's nothing here that stops it.
Right. Right, and those Musafati warriors still spending time up there. You know, they're killing some men-at-arms, killing some archers. Mangonel had a couple good hits, which is fantastic. But there's probably another 30-some archers that we got back here, and probably a Malian player force nightmare on Mangonel. One of the things that's probably the only unit that could take down all of the units that come out of the Fleur-de-lis. Just having Mangonels when you hit Castle Age is always a good idea, and Avely doing a good job. He's got 4 total, which is going to help him out, and also has Springolds to defend himself if any Springolds arise out of Szalami. So if he takes the battle here, which he has to, it's not looking good for Szalami.
He also has taken down the first of Szalami's landmarks. There's only 2 left remaining, and they are right next to each other. The Firimba Garrison and the main town center are very close to each other. So unless Szalami is able to push this army away, eventually they will begin to put a timer on this game and say, hey, you respond and you stop me, or I will, just eventually, trebuchet down your landmarks that he's got here. He's got enough mangonels now. He doesn't need to build anymore. I would switch to producing trebuchets from these siege workshops and just try and treb down the remaining landmarks here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a victory condition on our screen for a reason, right? Also love a good, in this particular situation, love a good face keep. I'm a big face keep guy. Putting a keep right in front of him is going to help you out. Yeah, I mean, all this time that I agree with you, all this time that you're spending, doing some of these production buildings, you should probably be able to take landmarks. But huge mango shots on the beef collectors. Looks like half of them end up going down around that cattle area, and the mill goes down that are producing that cattle. Looks like only 1 mangonel still in the department of Szalami. Not going to be enough. We're going to watch that get sniped down immediately.
Yeah, there are 3 Springolds out here for Avely, only 1 in the back for Szalami, so siege superiority definitely in the favor of Avely for the time being. And what's important to remember is that there's a big army here for Avely, but it is not good at killing buildings. These are all archers. They're going to take forever to shoot down these landmarks. So there is a bit of a window for Szalami right now. He can choose to engage when he wants to, but he does not have forever. He has to go in sooner or later.
Really good call by you also, as I see a trebuchet coming in on the south side. So he will be getting, he will be adding some haste to eliminating, but with that Firimba going down, it's going to be difficult for him to make any army at all, of course. With the Delhi play, now that we've seen it hit Castle Age and have that transition to Castle Age, I don't know if Fast Castle Mali is, the 100% good move.
I mean, against Delhi, then the Delhi might just be too well built to counter that. But at this point, I think Szalami's opportunities have kind of come and gone. Like, he's going to engage now because he feels like it's that or lose, but I think it's too late. Like, just right. I think Avely can just right-click the town center and win. I don't even think he has to fight the army.
Oh, I mean, all he has to do is have the Mangonels focus. It looks like there are a couple Springles in the back. All of the Springles actually from Avely end up going down. So the Mangonels probably don't have too much longer for this Earth, but the fact that he was able to take out most of the army of Szalami before they do go down, as we see all of those, Musafati and Donzo, whatever we got in there is going to end up going down. The Archer mass relatively unscathed as well. And even though he's got some villagers repairing, it looks like he has a total of 6. The army count for Szalami is completely down. He doesn't have a friend but a 3 mass, and he's got to call it.
GG gets called. Avely definitely earning his second victory in a big way, coming out swinging, taking down Szalami on his dreaded Malians and showing us how dangerous the Delhi can be. You know, the Delhi have kind of, a lot of people snoozing on them just a little bit, think they might just be kind of a C-tier civilization these days. It's just not as strong as they used to be. But hey, if they're always played like that, they can be downright deadly.
I'll tell you what, I love the Delhi. I thought Delhi was going to be a fantastically overpowered civ because the second town center meta kind of died off. And it's like, well, Delhi didn't like going second town center anyway, so this might be really good for them. And then Song Dynasty happened. So, but I think Delhi could show. I mean, there's a decent amount of promise in people that play the Delhi Sultan, and if you're able to play it as effectively as Avely does, you're some kind of beast on the ladder. Let me tell you. Yeah, look at this military count. Look at this military graph.
I'm stuck. I can't get out. I still says match complete on my screen.
Oh, that's okay. I'll pull you out after. But I just want to show the wonderful people some of this. The huge military, just because of the Mangonels getting some really good shots off. Nothing for the archers on the Delhi side. So, overall good game, total resources.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
So. Yeah, right? That cliff.
We want to thank our MetaPlace website subscribers. Your contribution helps us keep the project sustainable. As we reach higher subscription goals, you are helping us cover more and more behind-the-scenes costs, such as video editing. Check out our subscription page using the link in the description, and remember to collect your perks. We will see you the next time.